Soon, every visitor from outside the EU will need to provide fingerprints and facial scans upon entry. These aren't just checked and forgotten. They are stored for years, creating a permanent government record of your movements across Europe. The US has collected this kind of data for decades, and countries from China to Argentina already do it. Now the EU is building something even more comprehensive, making it impossible to fudge your 90-day allowance. Every entry, exit, train journey, and domestic flight gets logged. The system knows when you arrive, when you leave, and where you go in between. Welcome back to the Liberty Mundo channel, where we help high net worth individuals protect their assets, secure multiple citizenships, and legally minimize taxes. Visit libertymundo.com and get in touch for personalized strategies. For UK citizens, the leniency of the past disappears completely after Brexit. Americans, Australians, and UAE citizens face the same limitations. But here's what few people realize: EU citizens and residents are tracked too. Tax residency games that once relied on the absence of internal border checks are finished. If you're a German declaring tax residency in Monaco, but spending most of your time in Munich, the authorities are going to know. Internal Schengen travel is tracked just as closely as international arrivals. That means tax authorities across Europe suddenly have concrete evidence of where you've been and for how long. Special bilateral deals that once let people overstay by a few weeks or months are on the chopping block as well. Poland's unique deals with the US, Mexico, and Israel, for example, are becoming impossible to enforce in the face of unified digital tracking. And in countries like the Netherlands or Estonia, be prepared for ruthless enforcement if you overstay by even a couple of days. The system runs on pure data, with no room for negotiation or discretion. There's something else you should consider: how long your personal data stays in these databases. Even a single overstay means your biometric details are stored for at least 5 years. With every passport scan, the authorities collect more and more information about your habits, destinations, and travel frequency. Italy, for instance, now requires ID verification for something as simple as using ChatGPT. Imagine connecting the dots. They know where you travel, what AI tools you use, and with the future digital euro, every cent you spend can be traced. Financial surveillance is rapidly merging with movement tracking, eroding any genuine privacy, no matter who you are. If you want to spend more than 90 days in Europe without running afoul of these rules, you'll need to secure residency, but do it strategically. Certain visa programs lure you with attractive residency options but trap you with hefty tax obligations, like Spain's requirement for 183 days of physical presence for renewal, effectively making you a Spanish tax resident and subject to some of the highest rates in Europe. Hungary's golden visa stands out for its relative flexibility, and Latvia and Portugal still offer viable paths for those who qualify. Beware of shell company residency schemes, though. Maintenance costs, substance requirements, and renewal headaches can quickly make these more trouble than they're worth. Years ago, becoming a tax resident was often just a matter of paperwork and self-reporting. Stay outside your home country for 182 days. Show some receipts, and that was usually the end of it. Now those days are over. Automated tracking makes the 183-day rule absolute. Your residency and tax obligations are determined by hard data, not creative record-keeping. Every movement, every border crossing, and every bank account now ties together. Financial authorities share information across borders, and your real activity becomes impossible to hide. April 2026 marks a hard deadline, with the biggest airports in Madrid, Paris, and Berlin leading the charge. All other entry points will join in, covering even remote road crossings and ferry terminals. The EU now reserves the right to reject anyone at their discretion, just like America's ESTA. And there's little transparency and often no appeal if your application is mysteriously denied, perhaps because you posted something critical of government policy online. For the wealthy, this is the end of the old games. Pretending to live in Dubai while spending most of your year in Europe is finished. You need to either move properly or pay properly. Establishing genuine residencies, securing additional passports, and structuring your assets across several countries is now essential. Some individuals juggle multiple residencies, spending precisely prescribed days in each jurisdiction to remain compliant. This will continue to work, if you maintain true discipline and obey every rule to the letter. Once the digital euro arrives, expect the surveillance grid to go next level. Every transaction will be linked directly to your identity. Tax authorities will see in real time how much you spend, where you spend it, and on what. Old-fashioned banking privacy is disappearing. Crypto transactions are under the microscope. Cash is fast becoming suspicious by default. The result is an environment where you voluntarily surrender personal and financial data just by living your life. Even if you're an ordinary citizen who plays by the rules, don't assume you'll be unaffected. Systems designed for border control and tax enforcement rarely stop at their original mission. Italy's surprise ID requirement for AI tools is a prime example. What starts as a way to track tourists can quickly grow into a tool for political surveillance or social control. The best response? Move before the loopholes close completely. Secure alternative residencies while programs are still open. Open international bank accounts and establish businesses in more favorable countries, while incorporation requirements remain accessible. Geographic diversification is no longer just for the ultra-wealthy. It's for anyone who values options, flexibility, and control over their own future. The window is closing as programs get slashed, requirements tighten, and governments rethink old treaties. If you want to reduce your taxes to single digits, make your assets impossible for anyone to touch, and gain more freedom with second citizenships, get in touch with Liberty Mundo and book a consultation call. We will help you develop a complete blueprint to organize your life to safeguard your wealth and your freedom. Follow the link in the description for more details. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.